All right. So we're here.
Yep.
Fantastic, fantastic. Welcome. Hello, everyone, to Final Rites on the We Are Nerdsmith Network. It's so wonderful to see you all here. I am at Just Jason Please on Twitter. Jason, your DM for tonight's proceedings. So happy to be here. So happy to finally, settle back into the sort of hellscape the literal hellscape that is the Final Rites. But without further ado, I suppose it would be prudent, as usual, to introduce the cast and have them introduce themselves and, have just a jolly fun time going in the order that I see on screen. Oh, Heavenly. I must say, I admire the decor that you found for yourself. How are you doing? Who you playing? And, what's going on in your life?
Hello, everyone. It's me, Heavenly. That is my real name. No A, THT that. I'll figure out a good way to explain what my username is. I'm still working on it. I'm streaming from the basement. Welcome to my twisted mind. Currently, all of my
okay, you've embraced your future as a basement monster.
Currently, all of my streaming equipment is balanced precariously on various laptops that have encircled me. I cannot move. I am stuck in this position. My cords are stretched taut, and my laptop is not plugged in. Oh God! Oh no! I'll figure. Oh,
if you need to.
Oh no!
God! Introduce yourself, and then you can go get your.
I'll do that. I am playing Nowhere, a rogue tiefling. Spoiler alert, we're all tieflings. This is a tiefling campaign. If you didn't know,
you ruined it.
Welcome. And when last we saw the Nowhere, she had killed a baby. And she was feeling
a baby fire elemental.
Baby, just YouTube, hi. Don't demonetize.
She had killed a baby and she was feeling a little sad about it. Just a little. So we'll see how that plays out.
Indeed. We certainly will. So yes, as Heavenly's quest begins, we move on to the second in our party. Mercy, Rachel. Hey, so good to see you again.
Hi, Rachel.
How's life?
Yeah, life's alright. It's been very lovely and sunny here lately, so pretty chill. And I've just been drawing so many tieflings. I feel like as soon as we play Final Rites, I'll properly be able to imagine a ship full of bustling half-demon people because I've seen so many of them recently.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of all those lovely tieflings that you've been blessing us with your timeline at Telinear on Twitter, please follow for such wonderful art. But who will you be playing tonight?
Tonight, it's pretty safely tonight where I am. It's 8 p.m. It's nice temperature. I am playing Mercy, the tiefling. Wow, would you know it? Monk, and she is drunken master. Even though she hasn't done that much drinking in this campaign yet.
Give it time. Give it time indeed.
All you have to do is ask. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of drinking and having a good time, I suppose, Angie, so good to see you again. How you doing and who you playing? And life treating you well, etc., etc.?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. My modem is behaving, which is great. And I'm Angela. You can find me at darling_gypsum on Twitters. I am a role player and a very, very, let's say, a neonatal DM. I'm itty bitty DM. I'm not very experienced yet. And I am playing Jovi, who is a tiefling mixologist, which is a custom class that I sprung on Jason. And it's based on the gastronome that you can find on DM's Guild. So you should go check it out. Mine is all themed to alcohol, though.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's about it for Jovi. Nobody in her life that's significant enough to maybe mention or otherwise.
Wow, needy DM much?
Not just saying. I'm just. You were the
Sure,
one that came
fine.
up with the character.
Then let's fine. Jovi is a apprentice mixologist on board the ship. She is currently in the beginning phases of canoodling with her boss, Hamish, who is the master mixologist on board.
Yeah,
There.
yeah, something like that.
Read about all of that on our World Anvil, which I'll put in the chat if you want to.
Which is a more than fantastic segue to our sponsors. Indeed, one of whom was just mentioned, World Anvil, a lovely world building service for all sorts of creatives and sort of weird types like ourselves. Weird TTRPG types. Helps assisting in organizing and getting all your world building needs in order, be it geographical locations, cultures, persons of interest or note, histories, etc., all in a sort of wiki format that just blows my mind every time I'm able to just sort of traipse along some of their most popular pages and see what people have done. It's a marvelous service. You can try it for free, but for the cost of like a good quality, router cable a month, you'll be able to actually access a few of the features that we've been able to provide. Provide sort of a preview to in previous episodes, and also just sort of contribute to just such a labor of love. To say that World Anvil is responsive is an understatement. They are absolutely some of the best out there that, cannot recommend them highly enough. And also looking forward to their expansion and constant updates of their latest service, Heroes, which is still a good thing going on. They also have a summer camp, which features various prompts that can help burgeoning authors and campaign runners. Some of them called DMs. I would rather say campaign runners, but
Storytellers. All walks and pedigrees.
Yes, exactly. Going on with a summer camp that helps you sort of flesh out the world that you might be inhabiting or that you might want to create for yourself. So go ahead, worldanvil.com. You can find out more information.
Light up the forge.
Do that. Do what Angie said and light up the forge at worldanvil.com, whenever you get the chance. A secondary sponsor of this lovely stream is probably intermittently featured right beneath me, Die Hard Dice. You
sit on your dice?
No, not beneath me on the screen, and right down there, probably somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm sure. And on Angela's screen right now, Die Hard Dice, purveyor of the finest in metal and polymer or plastic diceware. Yeah, polymer. It's one of those things. I'm trying to sound smart. Anyway, they have such wonderful designs, intricate and so pretty.
They just came out with a new one.
Oh, really?
Bloodbath, I think it's called.
Something vampiric, I'm assuming.
It's gold metal, and then it's painted behind the numbers with like a scarlet and like a dark red. Looks really good.
Beautiful dice that you can go ahead and follow them on Twitter at DieHardDice, if I'm not mistaken, and also go to dieharddice.com to actually get yourself some of these precious pretties. It's wonderful quality at such an affordable price, and cannot complain about them in any way, shape, or form. They're just a gaggle of fine people that we're so happy to have the sponsorship of. Outside of that, I mean, there are a few Nerdsmith things to take care of. Chief among them, I should say, or at least give voice to, being the addition of a new show. Angela,
we've had a couple of really kick-ass people show up. I actually am not sure if we talked about the other one too. We should talk about both of them.
Yeah, why not?
But our newest members of Nerdsmith are Ukador. The Ukador channel is here on Twitch, so you can check them out. It is UKUDOR. Hold on, maybe it's an A. I'm really bad. This is terrible. Anyway, Ukador is a they run a live stream D&D show, or a couple of them actually, and they're actually all in person in the same place. So they have a cool studio, and Chris, the DM, is a very cool guy, and he's currently, as we're speaking, rebuilding their set and making it all pretty, which is was very fun to see this afternoon. Yes, thank you, Autumn. It's UKODOR. You can find it in chat. We'll link on the video. But you can find information about them at their Twitch, and they will be on our website very soon, as I very quickly code it after a game. But they're super awesome, newest members of the community. We're really proud to have them aboard. And we also just recently welcomed another new show to the channel, Crit Show. The Crit Show podcast is a Monster of the Week. The first season is a Monster of the Week game where all the players play sort of fictional versions of themselves and what would happen if they started having to deal with monsters in horror scenarios. I believe they're moving on in their second season to another Powered by the Apocalypse system, but it's all in the same family of RPG systems. Rev is a delightful person. He's a really cool DM. He recently got me completely hooked on the Monster of the Week system. I'm a really big fan now. And you should definitely check them out. They're a bunch of cool guys that are, like I said, a bunch of friends. Very fun podcast, and highly recommend you check them out. You can find them at nerdsmith.org. They've got their page up, so you can go check out what they're doing.
Hey. Indeed.
Yeah, welcome to all of you, Ukador and Crypto. You guys are awesome.
Yes, from us to you as the creator of Nerdsmith, the unofficial creator of Nerdsmith, I should say. I'm so happy to have you aboard. I'm not the creator of Nerdsmith at all. It's just a very bad joke that I can't let go of. Anyway, in addition to finding such lovely programming such as the Final Rites, Ukador, Crit Show, Monster Crush, just so many wonderful, wonderful programs. You can actually support the network directly if you have a little bit of a reservation about certain entities who might be involved in certain things. You can go ahead and actually Amazon Prime Days kind of a thing.
You can support small creators today.
Exactly. You can support small creators such as ourselves directly by going to nerdsmith.org / support. Yeah, of course. That's way too obvious. For, again, about the cost of probably a pallet of water bottles a month.
You don't actually have to trade these things. He's just coming up with analogies.
We are solely paid in water bottles. You understand? No.
You have to pay for shipping.
Yes, obviously. What the hell is this? For about, I believe the entry level tier is about $5 a month. You will be able to help us and get subscriber coins that you can contribute to specific shows that you watch, Final Rites being one of them. But honestly, in order to truly just help out small creators and further this creative content that we are going to be putting out, your support is very much appreciated in all shapes, sizes, and forms. So if you are interested in learning more, go ahead and go over to nerdsmith.org /support. And see how you can assist small creators such as ourselves. But for now, I suppose it would be prudent to welcome everybody aboard Final Rites. Alrighty. I wait until I see my face, and I'm there. All right. So happy to have everybody aboard. Hello, hello. When last we left off this intrepid Southern Gothic, all tiefling, all female group of experts? Question mark.
Experts. That's
Speak for yourself. I'm an expert.
throwing people off boats.
Specialists, characters at the very least.
Sure, I guess.
That counts. You can't say it doesn't. We found themselves actually removed from their place of work. Indeed, the final rites called them to service in another capacity, as it was discovered there was a flaw in one of the ship's systems. A flaw discovered by the keeper of the engines, Eamon Gallow Dodger. Apparently, some of the motivating crystals which power the defense systems, particularly in reference to that which is supposed to prevent magical influence aboard the Rites. Apparently, they experience some sort of corruption, which has unfortunately disabled a portion of them. As such, a motivating crystal for these magical engines was needed to be found. Eamon had a little bit of a lead in the form of Zara Kel and his brother Kelzora, two red dragons who resided upon the elemental plane of fire, where they happened to end up post-jump. With the assistance of a zombie minotaur procured for the group by Bajazet, the bosun, for lack of a better term, or the keeper of the hull, for the actual in-game term, who carried the containment device, or who carries the containment device for the motivating crystal itself. The group made its way into the actual elemental plane of fire, encountering a birthing pool of fire elementals. It wasn't
a weirdly visceral, juicy word.
Yeah, but
Birthing
it's yeah. I wish I came up with something different, but you know, it's live.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, and indeed it is what it was, as you expertly extinguished the life from these burgeoning bits of chaos. While this had transpired, it seemed that a storm had brewed its way into your path, and each of you suffered its effects, albeit at sort of different rates. Coming upon a mountain range, craggy and terrifying in construction, where you saw two red dragon forms dive into, I believe, the western face of the mountain. Yes, I must keep it consistent. And then disappear amidst the craggled rocks. Nowhere, mercy.
And the crackled rocks.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, just gonna roll this real quick. Can you just, for the first roll of the night, roll a quick wisdom saving throw for me?
Say what?
All of us?
No, just Angela.
Oh, for my Fraggle Rock joke?
How dare you?
I rolled a 12.
Oh, fine, you're good. No damage suffered. But Jovi has a sudden headache for whatever reason. As time has gone on,
You don't think Jovi has headache medicine in her?
that's, you know what? That is a fair point. I am sorry for doubting
Just
the.
downs a raw egg. It's fine.
Is that a headache cure? Hold on.
It's a hangover. It's part of a hangover.
But
Jovi,
we're talking about.
that's like sanitary just to go down a raw egg like that. There's a lot of diseases you can catch from eating raw eggs. Like, I'd be careful.
I am absolutely sure that my magic bag has some sort
Wait, do we even have chickens on the final ranks? What kind of animals do we have that lay eggs? Are they like lizard eggs or some kind of hell chicken eggs? I mean, I have never really seen where our fresh produce come I feel like that's something that as we should be entitled to get a look at.
In the middle of that, Jovi just turns and continues.
No,
She knows it's gonna be a while before
Yeah.
Mercy.
You know, this could all be solved if we had an union.
it's just having
We had a union.
nowhere. As Mercy has brought up this litany of questioning, I would like you to roll a perception check, bearing in mind your level of exhaustion, given the harrowing escapade that was the sandstorm. It should be noted they are at the base of the mountain range.
What was my level of exhaustion?
Just one. It was a singular level.
Okay. Does exhaustion at a level 1 affect rolls?
I believe exhaustion at level 1, if I am not mistaken, has it be to where it is disadvantage on all rolls outside of combat.
Oh, okay. Perception check, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on, because I have to navigate my mini tabs. $15.
15, still more than good enough. As you survey the sort of rocky mountainside, you do notice that those same sort of paths do kind of lay before you, two of them, the sort of classic idea of, well, you can mountaineer it, or, you can actually climb the cliff face to reach what you perceive to be the sort of Pride Rock opening where these dragons descended, but it will be at the cost of much effort for less time. Or there's a secondary path that you see that kind of winds a little bit. It would still require attentiveness, and it is out, quote unquote, out in the open. So it is kind of that dilemma which you face as your eyes scan across these very perilous mountain ranges.
And last time we had seen the dragon go around the mountain. Is it a little more obvious now where he perhaps went?
Yes, it's given where you have positioned yourself in the time. I'll say that you've been walking around, sort of orienting yourself to that side. It's now a little bit more obvious. It may take a little bit more close searching because even the distance that you're at, there's kind of an secondary obfuscation from the storm that seems to be kind of perpetually just sort of swirling around this elemental plane. But you do at least have a general sense of where the entrance to this lair might be.
Okay. About how far do I know?
With a 15, you're able to note that if you take the climbing sort of route, it's a much, again, shorter. If you take the sort of general incline, or gentle incline, it's a little bit longer. In terms of time, you'd probably say the climbing would take maybe an hour, or maybe two, depending upon certain things. But as a solid point of reference, it would take about another 4 to really scale the sort of path that you see before you.
Okay. I will bring that up to my compatriots and point where I saw the dragon.
I mean, no time for present, right? We just gotta get on with it. I don't want to stay out in this storm any longer than we have to.
No, that's agreed. Are we ascending via a hike, or are we gonna go try to find a more gentle means of getting inside?
I mean, I'm up for a hike. We've got no guarantee that they've got a back door. If anything, for dragon, and I mean, I don't know if this is right, but they like shiny things. I don't know why they'd have a honeycomb extra entrances, especially if they couldn't fit through them. So that all sorts of thieves and stuff could sneak in.
Sure. But on the other hand, the dragons, don't they like tribute and stuff? Wouldn't they maybe like having somebody
I mean, I kind of
access some sort of...
cast around the environment we're in. I don't see many people lining up to offer tribute. I don't even see any, like... does this place have settlements? Or, because, like, there are... I mean, there are, like, djinn and like, sentient elementals and stuff, aren't there? There are, like, people who live here.
I assume so.
Everybody who's interested in that, roll a history check.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
always super good at
Would
these.
Kaida have ever told me much about it? Does he know much?
I'll say, for Mercy specifically, given your history with Kata, you can roll at advantage, and yeah,
With disadvantage, it's a 16 for me.
okay.
I got a 17 with advantage.
17 with advantage and a 1-1. 11 for you, Jovi. So that was nowhere with the point of exhaustion. I believe Jovi was free from exhaustion, or...
I did not have exhaustion. I believe I was rolling pretty good on my constitution save.
Okay, and I believe Mercy, you did not have exhaustion
I
either,
think I
right?
do now.
Okay, we'll see how that turns out. But generally, each of you know that the elemental plane of fire is what Mercy kind of colloquially described. There are many sort of elemental and djinn presences that reside within this plane. You do also recognize that, to a certain extent, the blood war has found itself here and there around this plane. Obviously, with it being so pervasive within the lives of every demon and devil, it's impossible to fully escape. Even the Rites have had disagreements aboard, some of which you have been party to. But in terms of the history of settling and whatnot, there's not really anything that you know in terms of like a general like city structure that's been able to find purchase aboard this plane. Kata, specifically Mercy, told you that, well, he didn't really like hanging around there for a reason. A lot of storms, a lot of sound and fury. Surprise, surprise, when you're on the prime material plane with water and other elements, it's a hell of a lot more preferable than just fire perpetually, forever and ever. His opinion of it was rather low, but you get the sense that, yeah, there are these sort of powers that do reside here, but on the whole, they seem to be kind of all for themselves rather than coordinative in any particular sense. Nowhere from a strictly academic standpoint, you recognize that all manner of creatures can reside here, as long as they have either a predilection toward or protection against fire.
I just figure we saw fire elementals. There's probably more than that, where that came from.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You're not wrong, but I don't know. I mean, maybe there could be other like holes and caves and stuff. But we're on the base of this mountain. I don't see anything.
Fine.
Why
Just
have like your
climb
front
the
door
damn-
on the roof unless you're kind of particular about who comes and goes?
All right, fine. We can climb the dang mountain.
I got some rope. I mean, if we tie it around each of us and make sure we're all connected, that way if one of us falls, the other two can catch him.
As interested as I am in getting this over quickly, we don't know what other beasties we may come upon, and I don't know that any of us are inclined to fighting while scaling a mountain. Perhaps the slow and steady path might be a little more safe in the long run.
She makes a salient point, Mercy.
Okay, well, I mean, that's fine. At the end of the day, I guess you're kind of responsible for this trip in most part anyway, so sure, why not?
Never have more horrifying words been uttered.
Jovi walks over to our he's not liquid, he's just in a bodysuit. But
Yeah, it's a zombified, yeah.
Our liquid man.
Our liquid man.
I mean, it is realistically probably what would happen to a rotting body if you encased it inside like a radiator, right? It would be all squishy and gooey and...
I will say that you did see the face of this creature. It's terrifying. Or, well, yeah, some of you saw its terrifying face and visage, but... Jovi, you approach Zombie Beefcake. He carries with pride the containment device.
All right, which way are we going? Nowhere.
The slow and steady path.
Yes, left or right?
I don't know which option is best.
Which way is slightly closer to the dragons?
Right.
Would I know that?
We'll say right.
Could I make another roll?
Sure. If you
Another roll.
Another roll. If you
Am I echoing, or is it just me?
No. Just you don't hear anything on our end.
It's just my basement. Does anyone else hear the strange whispers telling them to go deeper? Okay, yeah, I'm making a roll. Sorry, I've distracted myself. I'm making a roll with disadvantage. Can I make an investigation roll? And I ask that because 1, I get advantage, so that cancels out. And 2, because I'm not just trying to like look around and see what I take in, but because I'm trying to be like, if a dragon flies from this part of the fiery plane of elemental fireballs, and they're traveling 700 miles per hour, and the wind is coming from, like, I'm trying to figure out.
Right, but is this an African or a European dragon?
Exactly. We'll say. Good. Okay, yes, we'll say that this is now an investigation roll, and that the advantage counteracts the disadvantage. Therefore, we've got. Excuse me.
I got a nat 20, so I got a 29.
Straight roll it is. Okay, so the question got kind of lost in that marvelous description that you gave. What was the question again?
I'm just trying to. So there are 2 ways we can go, left or right. I'm trying to discern which direction would most likely lead us to the entrance, based on like where the dragon had gone around the mountain.
Actually, with a natural 20, you find that there is a gentle slope that leads to the left, a little bit more directly to where you hypothesize, at least, the entrance of the lair is. Whether or not it is there, you'd have to travel, but the left path is actually a little bit shorter, so probably be about 3 hours instead of the original block of 4.
Okay. We will be going left.
Left it is.
Then. And Jovi pats Zombie Beefcake on the arm and goes, "We're heading to the left, dear. Mind your step.
Strike out towards the left."
Mercy, you feel very cold eyes that are like encased in glass fall upon you. But Zombie Beefcake dutifully follows orders and stomps amid the left path that nowhere, I'm assuming, now with your if I remember correctly, your trousers that were concealed under your dress.
Yes, my secret trousers.
Yes, your secret trousers. Also, all sort of revealed and ready for climbing. As this is a more gentle incline, it's simply the effort expended in terms of, in terms of the time rather than the energy. So, if you would like, you can continue along unbidden for the next 3 hours, or if you have the inclination, take a long rest in between to sort of get rid of a short rest in between to bump it back up to 4 hours, but remove that pesky little bit of exhaustion that still clings to your form.
Nice. I might use a hit die then if we are doing that.
Yeah, I would not say no to a moment to collect myself.
Hit die.
I'm just looking over my character sheet. I'm wondering if it didn't save. I took damage, didn't I?
I did.
From the
but you gave me a cocktail and that put me back up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was it.
Okay.
Where did beyond? Where do you find your?
Where do you find your what now? Just say again.
Your
It's in
hit
the
die.
upper. Oh.
Oh, short rest. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yep, yep, yep.
There it is. Alrighty.
Do we want to take a short rest right at the beginning, or do we want to do a hike situation where we hike for an hour and a half and then take a lunch break and eat some peanut butter sandwiches and then go on?
I was hypothesizing that it was the latter of those two scenarios.
Okay.
I'd be fine.
Yeah.
with
Yeah, we can do that.
Sounds good.
All right. So, Beefcake similarly kind of powers down, for lack of a better term. Like his arms slouch over his. He sort of crouches over the containment facility. His snout kind of resting, or his air filtered. The
Gross.
air filter of his snout, resting on top of the device itself. But you have a solid 30 minutes to commiserate, heal up, and kind of wipe away the soot and ash which has unfortunately accumulated. And though your clothing nowhere is fireproof, you do note that its color is not as brilliant as it once was.
I mean, I have prestidigitation as a tiefling, don't I?
Is it?
Thaumaturgy.
The worst one.
Well, you can shout three times as loud as normal. Your anguish, your trusting.
You can complain about it really loudly.
Really loudly, yeah. If any of us had soup, I'd make it cold.
Wow.
Or hot. Whatever you want.
That's like your way of saying may all your bacon burn.
Well, yeah.
May all your soup be cold.
Slightly less than room temperature. What is room temperature in the fire plane?
Too hot.
Very hot. Let me go outside real quick and find out. And I'll
As we near the end of our short rest, I'll just ask everyone, are we feeling ready to continue?
Yes. I just want to get this. I want to meet this dragon. I've been dragon for 3 days, and I just want to meet a dragon.
You've never met a dragon before?
No, funnily enough, they don't tend to just stroll up and down the streets of Waterdeep. Although I did hear a rumor there was one in the harbor, but not a red one. I think it was actually a brass one. But then some people said it wasn't. It was just some guy trying to protect his local fishing patch. But no red ones.
I'll be fine to go.
Wonderful. I too am I too am looking forward to the conclusion of our journey, if only because I find that this plane does not agree with my skin.
I look at her perfect pink skin, yeah, I can see you're really coming out in hives.
I like to maintain a certain level of moisture
That's true. You would need a lot of moisturizer.
Unfortunately, I did not bring enough face cream to make up for the moisture I'm losing simply by being here. And as I'm saying that, I'm going to reach into my bag and pull out like a little pot, and I'm just going to smear lotion on my face.
Well, you never know.
You really should make sure there's an SPF.
Yeah, I bet you need a pretty high rating here. But you never know, dragons collect treasure. Maybe they have, like, beautiful crystalline bottles filled with the finest magical moisturizer money can, steal in this case.
Are tieflings resistant to UV damage?
Hey, fair question. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just internalize in canon that radiant damage is just UV?
Well, and we're really not resistant to it because the seven hells are so deep down.
Yeah, that's the problem. Now you see you've doomed yourself. You have a vulnerability to radiance damage.
Guys, you gotta leg it into this mountain as fast as you can. I can feel burning. Like right here. You see this? This was a beautiful green. Now it's like crispy swamp color.
Now it's like seaweed.
Yeah, it's going all like crisply and there's little like bubbles. I don't like it. Go.
After that fight with that celestial being, I got a weird mole on my back and I'm just starting to freak out a bit.
Oh no.
Guys, let's go see this fucking dragon.
Let's go!
Let's go. Oh, zombie kick snaps awake. Takes the goddamn container, straps it to his back because it's a backpack, and just follows all of you as you continue along this wonderful path, free from exhaustion and philosophical discussion. Out of the way.
We're just thinking about the nature of our existence. I think that is a perfectly healthy thing to do.
Well, I relent. I say yes, and we continue. Pardon. So, another hour and a half passes, and without incident or injury, I'd like you all to roll a perception check.
You got it.
And now we are not exhausted, is it?
14.
That is true, yes. No exhaustion.
Lame.
I like that the exhaustion icon on Roll20 is like a little person on their hands and knees. You said perception?
Yes.
I got a miserable 14.
Same here.
I got a 9.
14.
Oh, okay.
So a not so miserable 14.
Nowhere you notice nothing amiss. There seems to be a little bit of a wind rumble that's not halting progress, but rather staggering it. Mercy, Jovi, you note that the ground beneath you seems to be moving. Not to a worrying degree, but you note that there are a few skittering rocks that kind of...
Shit, more babies, let's go! I can't deal with more children.
Nowhere you have no idea what Mercy's worried about.
Does it feel similar to when we were out in the sand?
Far more slight and far less, apparent, I should say.
Wait, is the fall lava? Like, dried lava? Is the fall gonna be lava?
No comment. So,
Okay.
nowhere.
The floor is
I'm anxious.
But Angela or Jovi, what's up?
I just changed it. Sorry about that. Jovi is going to chime in and be like, "Watch a step, maybe. Nowhere. I'm not liking the security of the ground beneath us." So basically, Jovi just wants to take some extra care walking around, making sure that nothing loosens beneath her without her being aware of it.
Thank you for the heads up. I appreciate it.
Sure thing.
All right. So, as you continue along this path nowhere, you come to around the rough area that you presumed the entrance of the lair to be. Obviously, with this sort of, again, kind of deep entrance, you come across a cavernous kind of side that was hidden by a wall of sharp and jagged geography to your right. Sort of this igneous black obsidian construction of spires and that have been worn with time and weather. And looking now into this cavernous space, you note that there are actually a few, tunnels, quote unquote. It's very hard to see what actually sort of emerges or delves into as a full-blown tunnel, what might have been, something that was broken off due to weather. But of this space being about 20 foot high and, very, very deep, you're free to kind of at least try and prod and see where the dragons might have disappeared to. The darkness extends a little bit farther than you anticipated, so it would require you to actually go through and make your way deeper into the cavernous space itself.
Okay, let me just look and see why I don't have light. Boo. Well, I suppose that we should step into the cavern. And I motion for someone to do that and make a face like, duh. Go.
Okay,
in.
sure. Whatever. I will step inside.
Mercy, immediately as you begin to step forward and navigate your way through, I'd like you very quickly to roll a dexterity saving throw for me.
Got it. That would be a 17.
17.
Oh, that's not bad.
I
Not
get
bad.
a +8 to this, baby.
Not bad at all, especially considering as you begin to take the first tentative steps, you note that the ground shifts uncomfortably, and indeed a portion of it begins to collapse, slow enough for you to scramble out of the way and onto a solid patch of earth, but you note that there seems to be like a tunnel collapse that just occurred. For what reason or from where, you have no idea, but this very thin layer of sort of igneous volcanic rock begins to break apart, crumble down with a mighty crash. As you sort of look around, you note that several other of these, collapses seem to be happening. Not to an extent where it's like worrisome, like the whole structure is under threat of collapse, but that at least along, well, make a quick perception check for me.
24.
At least along 5 definite lines that you note being not evenly spaced apart, but spaced apart in some manner. You note that they're kind of crumbling and collapsing. You don't know, just because you're kind of casting your looks out, you don't know specifically what patches are good and what patches are bad, but you know that if you continue forward, it should be with a very, very light foot.
Okay, I think I've read about this kind of thing before. It happens all the time in, like, action adventure thriller books. So, being the jumpy, bouncy one amongst us, if I think I can kind of see where the floor is uneven. If I just try and feel it out, try and find a safe path, you guys follow behind me and we should be good to go.
All right.
Okay.
But if I fall down a deep dark pit, just
We'll remember you in our prayers.
Jovi, you get my tips.
Oh, great.
Mercy, go ahead and make an investigation check for me, please.
Investigation. Oh, maybe
Oh.
Noah should have done this. That's a 6.
Hindsight is 20/20.
There's
There's
It's cool.
rocks. There are a lot of rocks, and you sort of remember kind of where the sort of lines were. You take a few tentative steps forward. You're able to kind of find purchase amidst the flat, kind of very, very stable surface that you're on. Okay, perfectly fine. The rest of you, do you kind of follow her along?
yeah. I mean, jovial.
Okay. No.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not like fallen over, then
Not yet.
I'm gonna
So good,
follow.
so good.
Okay. Zombie Beefcake similarly actually does step down and begin to follow. You will have to make a dexterity saving throw. Because unfortunately, your investigation check was for tieflings only and not for
Oops.
minotaurs. Zombified minotaurs carrying a very heavy
What?
containment
Oh
device.
dear.
Alrighty, let's see here. Okay, that's a number. And that's not good. So as the Minotaur takes its steps, nowhere, Mercy, Jovi, you're able to navigate the space that Mercy is sort of setting up before you very slowly. But as the Zombie Beefcake continues to sort of trudge along, you note that its steps start to sink a little bit, and indeed, unfortunately, almost too late, the feet, the legs of this zombie are caught up in a landslide that unfortunately sees it fall prone to the ground and begin to sort of trickle into a fresh collapse, a fresh hole that was born from its heavy footfalls. You note that survival instincts have now kicked in as its fingers dig into the thicker portions of rock, but it is not exactly getting a firm purchase.
Oh shit, save the box!
Who is closest to Zombie Cake?
As you were the last one to go, nowhere. You are the closest.
I will. So he's just like starting to sink and he's losing purchase, but he hasn't gone anywhere.
You note that he will go somewhere if you don't act very quickly.
I'm gonna grab the box.
Okay. Interesting. So the box itself is on the back of this creature. Its back is exposed. You're able to grip the handles that Amon designed, for purchase. It's still as heavy as you remember it outside your door on the final rites, trying to push it in. But you do at least latch your hand onto it. I need you now to make a strength check. Athletics, if you have it.
Okay.
I will say that you will be given advantage because Zombie Beefcake is kind of like straddled against the ground trying to pull itself out.
I got a 2.
With advantage?
Yes.
Oh dear.
That's so perfect.
My first roll was a 3 and my second one was a 4, and I have a -2 modifier.
She was the perfect person to do this.
Okay, well, get ready for a daisy chain. Nowhere. You note that the sort of quicksand effect is rapidly and unexpectedly increasing as you note not the entire bottom half of Zombie Beefcake being dragged away, but a good portion of it. And try as you might to struggle valiantly against the forces of nature, they seem to be ignoring you. And you note that the ground beneath you, you've positioned yourself, unfortunately, where you were trying to pull, but one of your legs slips, basically, and you begin to descend rather rapidly. Jovi, Mercy, I need you both to roll dexterity checks if you want to even try to help.
Yeah, absolutely. This is check, not saving throw?
This is just a check. No, not saving.
I rolled a 19, so 22.
I got an 18 all told.
Okay, so both of you can act, but you have got to be quick on this.
Alright, yeah, I'm just be like, shit, nowhere! I don't like you that much, but you can't die! And I just gotta go and grab her and try and yank her back. With, like, making sure she is still holding at least.
Okay.
I'm not going to be tugging at Mercy. I think I would be gilding the lily at that point. I will try to reach for nowhere as well, like looking for a wrist or something to.
Okay. Who among you has the higher strength? He asked.
Probably Mercy.
Mine's 12, but my athletics is a +4 because she's athletic.
Sure.
She's better. Only by 1. It's fine.
Okay. Mercy.
Not that bad.
You will roll this with advantage given Jovi's help, and
Wish me luck.
Luck.
Okay. Altogether, that's a dirty 20.
Okay. Very nice. Nowhere. I'd like you to make a strength saving throw. As you are being pulled in opposite directions.
Come on, nowhere.
Oh, they were the same. Okay.
Nowhere. Is this just the box, or are you genuinely much more heavy than I gave you credit for?
That's a 12. That's not too bad.
I'd like you to fish for a higher number as Zombie Beefcake still, even in its position, renders a little bit of advantage as it's now scrambling.
Yeah, we're going to go with 12.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to go with 12. Is that the higher number of the two? I should ask.
It's the better of the two, yeah.
It's just a good point of order.
No, Heavenly just always wants to go for the funnier option.
So, it's almost like a white knuckle grip that you have on this canister. Like you are not letting go. There's a like a vice. You begin to tear and pull at the canister itself. Zombie Beefcake finds that last bit of strength and launches its arm forward, the momentum exacerbated by Mercy's very good pull against nowhere. You are able to basically slingshot your way out of this arrangement. However, upon impact, I would like each of you quickly to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Got it. 10.
13.
Me too?
Yes.
I mean, you're the one flying through the air gracefully.
Okay, well, that's good. I have a high number. 14.
Okay. With all the help, I'll say that the Minotaur gets help on this because so as you all sort of crash to the ground, you note on the other side of this very hard rock surface, there's another tunnel that was previously undiscovered that begins to collapse. You do the Indiana Jones roll out of off of the precipice of this. The precipice of this very good tunnel pit thing that has just been revealed. And though absolutely drained, you are able to safely make your way at least to a good point amidst this very uncertain ground. Furthermore, I would like to say that you are back where you started, essentially.
Fabulous.
Well, perhaps the cavern is not the best choice.
Okay, I mean, I kind of look across. Is this just now like a cavern and a big drop between us and the way forward?
I'll say everybody, go ahead and give me either a perception or investigation roll.
That's a 17.
Perception. Yes, I'm better at that. I'm much better than that. Natural 20, 25.
Oh boy.
I got a 19.
All right. So, Mercy, casting your eyes forward, you're able to kind of maybe parse a little bit. It's still very dark in the more interior portions of this cavern, but nowhere. You actually see there's a bit of a rhyme and reason to the tunnels that have now opened up. They are parallel to each other. Some perpendicularly intersect, but that's sort of further on, and you can kind of tell by the curvature of the rocks themselves and whatnot that these were built deliberately and sort of in a grid-like pattern, almost like something of attack. It's very coordinated. Jovi, with that natural 20, you see actually as you stare into the darkness, there's a portion of it that extends upward even further from that 20-foot now to a 30-foot kind of entryway. And you realize, oh, it's not that you're looking for a tunnel. This is the tunnel.
All right, so we're on the right track.
So you're saying that we cleared away some red herring paths and have now revealed the right?
Sure. I'm not much of a navigator myself.
I mean, that sounds like a positive outcome to me. Shall we just go ahead and find these fucking dragons?
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Did I miss the fate of Zombie?
He's alive, I think.
No, perfectly fine. The device itself seems to be sturdy enough to withstand such rigorous adventuring. So as you continue along, pardon, judicially, I'll say, just for the sake of brevity, between Nowhere and Jovi, you're able to parse the kind of construction that these tunnels take and are able to navigate them in such a way where Zombeefcake does not have to step so lightly. Continuing on, you actually, this will not require a perception check, you actually hear the echoing sounds of battle, of conflict. You hear the rending of and tearing of flesh, the searing of bone. You hear shouts in Draconic. Does anybody actually speak Draconic?
Jovi can chug a drink to make her speak Draconic.
I speak Draconic. I speak the language of my enemy.
Enemies to lovers. I'm just saying.
I didn't.
I love that trope. That's
I
like my
didn't
favorite
speak
rom-com.
Draconic, but within like a week of me being on the final rites, I learned it.
Of course.
Just because I needed to know if he was talking shit about me.
Yeah, exactly. It was solely for that purpose. And
Jason,
And he still doesn't
would it be
know.
okay for Jovi to? Could Jovi chug a Velvet Duchess?
as soon as you start hearing words you don't understand, that's where your mind goes. So yeah, you can perfectly fix up if you've got the components.
Okay. I've got it all ready to serve. It's just a serving I can pull out of my bag. So yeah, she will drink down a little bit of cognac. She gets real relaxed, like visibly like chill.
Wait, this is a weird time
and
for
in her
a
own mind
cocktail picnic.
moment. And when she drinks it, she gets very chill and relaxed, but then also the draconic starts becoming something she can comprehend.
So, luckily, Nowhere, you actually note some of the words quite readily. They were some of the first that you learned. You hear something along the lines of bastards, fucking interlopers, how dare you steal from me. It's a distinctly, well, I say distinctly, it's a feminine voice that seems to be speaking. You hear pleas and cries of calm, sister. We must protect the trove. It's actually kind of strange. There seems to be like an argument happening whilst the battle is going on. In particular, you note the feminine voice speaking to the masculine. Protect the trove. You wanted to abandon it not even 10 minutes ago. Yeah, a real sibling kind of talk that's just going on.
So I hear two voices, but the sounds of battle are more than two.
Yes, but the shall we say the voices, such as they stand, are not saying anything. They're just kind of shrieking. Anybody understand Primordial?
Me!
I think I do as well.
Mercy, hey, you hear a lot of angry yelling in Primordial. No real words being formed beyond like give us what is ours, give us what is ours. That's the kind of common chant that is nonsensically sort of babbled.
Well, I mean, there might be a bunch of elementals in there. I mean, live on the elemental plane, speak primordial, right? No one?
Well, at the very least, we can hear the siblings up ahead, so we know that we will be dealing with both of them.
And even better, they're so distracted being angry at people stealing their shit, they won't notice if they steal their shit.
Let's not jump right to that.
I think
we're supposed to be making a deal.
Our intent exactly was not to steal anything, but to make a deal.
I guess, but I mean, if they're looking the other way when we're on our way.
Mercy, hands in your pockets.
Fine.
One way that we could secure our good graces in the eyes of the dragons is perhaps by helping them stave off these invaders to their treasure trove.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We leap right on in there. We stop kicking the crap out of whoever's trying to steal their shit, especially if it's more fire elementals, because they already hate us, so that's fine. And then the dragons love us, and we become like their draconic. It's like we're warlocks with dragons as our patrons. That'd be pretty wild.
Jovi just looks to Nowhere, just like.
I've never really known any warlocks. I wonder what it's like.
Better than a patron is someone owing you a very big favor.
That's true.
I wonder if favors stack.
If we save their entire trove, we may get a few favors. Shall we forge ahead?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Into the darkness you now tread as the ceiling begins to grow even further, and you note that on the opposite side there seems to be like it's very strange. There seems to be a corner that seems to round itself to the left of this lair. And so as you continue along, the heat grows and the fire contained within beckons. But we shall leave that for the latter half of the episode as we take a bit of a short break. Everybody, get up, get some water, stretch, take care of yourself, and we will see you in about 5 or 10.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Yeah,
Be right back.
mama told me I should beware. I'll tell you a story about mean people who take use of innocent girls. Don't mean to scare you, but be careful. Maybe think twice before you walk alone. Call somebody to take you home. Look over your shoulder when you go that way. This world might take you to a bad, bad place. Remember you told me things your mama said. She never gave you enough affection. Let you run around. She didn't know you're bound to feel alone and such neglection. You may feel the need to fix the past you need and you show overlovingness. Feed me, pushes me further. World full of bad, I can't take much longer. Hold tight, you'll see I'm right. I don't tell you nothing just to mess with your mind. Don't be cold and act like you know some things my child make us all feel small. Remember you told me I should watch out. You see not I will have a good intentions. So keep your eyes stretched and sharp your senses. I'm terrified that you'll lose direction. Just hold tight, you'll see I'm right. I don't tell you nothing just to mess with your mind. Don't be cold and act like you know some things my child make us all feel small. Take this mark back to where it came from. Leave me out, this is not mine. To carry with me through my life. Hope these scars can heal with time. Hold tight, you'll see I'm right. I don't tell you nothing just to mess with your mind. Don't be cold and act like you know some things my child make us all feel small. And I'll hold tight and hope I'm right. I'll see the good when I lose my sight. I'll play right and follow my life. I'll scream what I need with my silent sound.
I feel lonely with every step that I take. I don't feel good and my body starts to shake. I fell in love with a girl I haven't seen her met so far. Sometimes I wonder if I'm the only one who sees what they say it takes to be a man and what a man can be. It's all lies, it's all a fraud. They only feed you with what they're being fed. Sometimes I still feel it's all so dull. So why don't you take it all? Take it away from me. 'Cause someday I'll leave this place. You live cities, don't run away. so fast, and I'm not even blinking with an eye. But I don't want your badge, I don't need no gun. I'd rather bleed truth than feel misunderstood. Sometimes I still feel it's all so dull. So why don't you take it all? Take it away from me. Someday I'll leave this place, even if cities don't run away. Don't run away. So why don't you take it all? Take it away from me. Someday I'll leave this place, even if cities don't run away. Don't run away. Don't run away.
Hello.
Hello, hello! So glad to have you all back here. As always, this is the Final Rites on the Nerdsmith Twitch channel, at We Are Nerdsmith on Twitter. And if you want to catch the VODs either here or on YouTube, just subscribe to the Nerdsmith YouTube channel or follow us on Twitch. Subscribe to us on Twitch if you've got a little bit of disposable income. And do not be afraid to go over to nerdsmith.org/support to see how you can continue supporting small creatives like ourselves to remain independent and to remain as creative as possible. Today's stream is sponsored by two of the loveliest companies in the world, World Anvil and Die Hard Dice. Go ahead and chuck them a follow on social medias or take a gander at their storefronts, respectively. They're just two of the loveliest that we are so honestly blessed to be sponsored by. And without further ado, I suppose, that out of the way. Nowhere, Mercy, Jovi. Each of you note that as you continue along, the heat begins to grow more intense. The construction of the cavern itself seems rather jagged. I'd like you each to roll a nature check.
You got it.
That's a
That's
10.
my nature. It's not great.
Nature.
Oh, 16.
I got a 10.
10. Okay. Jovi, nowhere. It's not that you're not traveled. It's not that you're not experienced or
I'm just not outdoorsy. It's
well,
fine.
and it's not exactly what you're paying attention to as you hear the sounds of battle intensifying as you grow closer. The sibling argument specifically still kind of rising above the kerfuffle. Mercy. Given Kata's previous sort of descriptions of the elemental plane of fire, you recall a conversation that you had in reference specifically to dragons and whether or not they actually stayed there. Kata was recalcitrant on some of the details. It wasn't exactly forthcoming. You got the sense there was maybe a bit of history there, but
I didn't. Mercy was probably like, dude, tell me about fucking dragons. That's badass as shit.
he would
Quote.
yeah, quote. He was very reluctant to tell, strangely, but regardless, he revealed that most of the time dragons on the elemental plane of fire use it as kind of a go-between. They're not natives there, they're occupants, for lack of a better term. Usually, ancient or adult red dragons can use the elemental plane of fire as a secondary means of storing and securing their hoard when it grows a bit too large for their home planes.
Like a plane of holding.
Pretty much, yeah. It's
Like a swimmer.
yeah, it's dangerous enough to where it's enough to persuade most bandits and the like. And not only that, but there are a plethora of naturally occurring spaces that are of similar design to this that you see here. These cavernous sort of hollowed out mountains where you recognize basically as a very intense dormant volcano that was drained, for lack of a better term. You surmise that the desert sort of area outside was the remnants of what was drained. The magma and whatever was residing inside being popped and spread out and then ground into fine sand as the terrible, terrible weather of the fire plane basically screwed it over. The inside, however, you note there is a little bit of architecturing. Obviously, tools for dragons are few and far between, especially those of a larger variety. But they do have claws, and those claws make such distinctive markings. Whoever was here or stayed here at one point had to be exceptionally large. At least an ancient red dragon, if not even more advanced. And they had time to make this place a home.
Well, their dad did just die.
Let's just be nice to them, maybe.
Well, that was the plan, dear.
Yes, I don't think anyone's plan was to attempt to anger the dragons.
No, I guess not. I guess just don't you just gotta you gotta be a bit less sassy than you are with Bahazet. Nowhere, I don't know, maybe you don't realize sometimes you come off a little bit confrontational.
Oh, she's 100% aware of that, dear.
Good, just making sure. Should we check out what those battle sounds were?
I'd like each of you to roll a Constitution saving throw, real quick for me.
Boo.
20.
Ooh, 19.
Can someone tell me why I have this issue where every seventh click, I'll try and switch between tabs, and all of a sudden all of my screens will move to the side? Has anyone else had this issue? And I don't understand what it is, but it literally drives me insane when I'm trying to click on something and then all of a sudden all of my screens get pushed to the side.
Like the whole browser?
Yeah.
Very strange.
Your mouse might be sticky. It might be dragging. It might be dragging your browser to the right, and it's anchoring.
Oh.
Which is what the browser does that. So maybe your mouse is just sticky. Not literally sticky. The button is.
But I have it's the tracker on the laptop.
That even more so. Your hand could be getting registered in multiple places. If you're not...
It's a ghost hand.
My vote was for basement ghost. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ghost of the basement for sure.
Well, thank you, Ghost, because I did just roll a 19.
Okay. Anybody who did not roll above a... Hang on here. Because this is a fun thing that actually has a... Oh, yeah. Anybody that did not roll above a... At this distance, probably a 14?
We're good. We had a 19, a 19, and a 26.
Okay. So you only suffer 17 points of fire damage as this intense heat crawls down the tunnel.
Okay, if I'd have failed that would have been...
I was going to say, if I had failed that, I would have died.
Yeah, would have been bad. But this intense heat crawls down very suddenly as you hear this anguished cry and almost a scream from the feminine voice unleash and unfurl itself. A gout of flame and intense light flickers across the corner, which you have yet to round.
Oh wait, is this fire damage?
Yes.
Heat damage? Okay, so we can halve this again?
Some of us can.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you have you round up? How do you have 17?
I thought in D&D you always round down.
Yeah, so 17 going down to, let's say, 8, I guess.
Phew!
And then have it again if you have any additional resistances.
This does not have to be the way we do it. I typically thought that it was rounded in a way that did not benefit the player. Or maybe Logan just does that. You round up your damage and you round down the damage you do to people. Maybe Logan's just mean.
You can blame
Angela
for
now
this
we
one.
know.
It's 9. You can blame Angela for this one. It's going to be 9 points of
damage. Angela.
Can I have homework, teacher?
Okay, guys, I don't want to stand in this corridor anymore. I got UV burn now. I have no more. Just go in there and kick some butt.
Yeah, you can see on my lip, there's just that fine mustache of sweat as I look at Mercy and I say, I agree with Mercy.
Well,
Fuck
that deserves
I
a drink.
know.
Hold on. And Jovi will proceed to reach into her bag and pour out 3 glasses of Big Rock Candy Mountain.
Of course.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it looks like bourbon with cotton candy notes in it, and there's literally a little swizzle of rock candy, and she will give it to each of them. Lift her glass and go, to our unlikely but possible demise. Clink.
Yeah, great. Let's do it.
It's best to just down it all in one go. Nowhere.
I sip at it.
You monster.
And then it takes her 3 turns to have any benefit.
No,
What's
I
it do?
down
What's
it.
it
I
do?
down it.
All right, so each of us get +1 to our AC and a plus 1d6 to all attack rolls first.
Okay, I'm gonna need to remember this.
Very nice.
So if we're gonna start with some shit, let's start with some shit right away.
I
1d6 to all
run
of
around the corner.
All attack rolls. Yes, 1d6. And that's
I
the most effective
removed-
I'm gonna be.
I
Let's
removed
go.
my pants to reveal that they were also shorts.
Oh my gosh, they were like the zipper shorts.
Not a skirt. Not a skirt.
No. So first I tuck it up so to reveal that they had secret pants, and then I pull off my legs to reveal rip away shorts.
Oh
So
my
I'm
gosh.
I'm wearing little shorts with like a train in the back, and I say, "I'm ready."
You just hear Mercy call back. Okay, that's kind of cool.
She's already running.
And then
up.
I use the pants to make like a scarf for my neck.
Nice.
Your outfits are eminently versatile. I will say that. At any rate, that's brilliant. I love it. Going forward, the ground itself begins to actually solidify. You note that the actual tunnels, such as they are, begin to go away from the ground and almost scale up the wall, and then sort of disappear into the cacophony of rock and whatnot. Rounding the corner, however, there is an even larger inner chamber that you are at the very edge of, around like 120 feet across and about 60 foot upward. You see not floor to ceiling, but pretty damn close, an absolute mind-bogglingly opulent sight. Various rare jewels and accoutrement of various rarity. You have silver, gold, bronze, electrum, every precious metal and stone that you could imagine just laid out before you in giant clumping heaps, some of which have melted together, as you note in within this sort of batch of opulence. There seem to be 2 red dragons, young in sort of age, at least that you can tell by their size, or divine by their size, and they are combating. Well, I need everyone to roll an Arcana check real quick.
Uh-oh.
11.
Oh, yeah, 15.
$12.
So the highest was 15.
15, 12, and 11. Okay. Jovi, nowhere? You have no idea what the hell these things are, but they look very unique.
What do they look like?
Okay, so they have tripedal legs, the 3 sort of stubby legs with 3 claws that stick out of them, a gaping maw that emerges in the middle of their torso, it looks like, with a singular yellow eye, serpentine and kind of pupil. On the edge of its mouth, it's got like here's the mouth, here's the eye, and it also has 3 just very bad arms. Just very bad. Just 3 arms with 3 claws.
Poorly drawn.
So it's a tripod. It has 3 legs. And then on top of its 3 legs is a maw. And on top of the maw is 1 eye. And then sticking out of one side is 3 arms.
No, I'll say it's
Oh.
not that cruel. It's surrounding the mouth are the 3 arms.
Just going on.
Okay, so 2 on either side, 1 in the back.
I'm willing to.
Can the one in the back reach around its head like this?
It looks like this in the Discord.
Okay. Hey, let me cement what I'm thinking in my head.
You got pretty close.
Okay.
It's very close. You share it for the benefit of chat if you so desire.
I think I made one of them out of paper mache.
Oh, the eye is below the mouth.
Yes, I should have said yes. Okay. It's a nightmare.
That's pretty gross.
Yeah.
What is that between O?
Of course. You have to inspect it. Are you joking?
Excuse
Tune in
you.
for Monster Crush, where we
Just a quick plug.
Is there anything else in this chamber? Is it just the creatures? And are they the things yelling in Primordial?
They are the things yelling in Primordial, and you recognize them, mercifully.
I do, mercifully.
That's they are what are known as Zorn, Xorn, because fantasy. These are elementals of a certain type. You forget whether or not they're earthen or fire in construction, but you divine that they kind of go where they just kind of pop up on their never-ending search for precious stones. You see, the Zorn are keenly aware of that which is precious and whatnot within a pretty hefty chunk of range. And this is because, well, it's their primary food source. So if there happens to be, let's just say, for example, a dragon horde that may or may not have a fine selection of prime cuts of jewels, gems, and other precious materials, yeah,
It's like My Little Pony.
you've basically come across a buffet line for these chaps, or at least it would have been had the dragons been absent. And it seems that the dragons are holding themselves quite well, as you note, Mercy Nowhere, Jovi. You note that these tripedal corpses lay burnt around the base of the larger of the two, who seems to be swiping out very angrily at the 2 which remain. There were 6. Some corpses have been eviscerated with claws. 1 seems to have actually been bitten in half. The other 2 are burnt to cinders. And the 2 that are still standing are a little wibbly wobbly, but they're still fighting on.
Okay, so 100 miles an hour, guys. Quick, these guys, they're like elemental things. They like to eat jewels and gems and stuff, so they're probably here to eat the treasure. Are we gonna fuck them up? Yeah, that's the plan?
Sure, if you think they can help with dragons, they seem to be holding their own.
Yeah, but we gotta impress them somehow.
Alright, go impress them.
You got it! She just like
behind.
a salute and then legs it inside.
Okay, are you stealthing at all, or are you just literally
I mean, I
jumping
would like
into
to
the fray?
try and, I guess, run in behind one of the Zoran, because I like to think they're playing on dragons right now.
Yeah, let's go ahead and say roll a stealth check.
Okay. Unless I roll like that, that's an 11.
Okay. Well, isn't that interesting? Well, Unfortunately, you don't get as much of a surprise from this individual, I guess, as you want, as indeed it spins around rather wildly, its mouth chomping at the air fruitlessly, and its yellow eye settling directly on you as you approach. It sees you coming from a mile away.
Fuck it, let's do this! And she's got like the hammer like going like, or she's ready.
All right. I would like you, and anybody else who wants to act during this combat, to roll initiative, and I will slot you into the initiative order.
Ugh. Okay, that's an 11 again.
Jovi rolled a 6.
I got a 14.
Jovi.
Okay, so I'm gonna get this real quick here. All right. So, just another go around. Mercy, what did you get?
Oh boy! Okay, so, she's got the hammer just kind of like whoozing above her head.
Oh, no. What did you get for initiative? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I pretended to hear first. I was gonna say that would seem really. I only got an 11.
An 11. Okay. Nowhere.
I got a 14.
And Jovi?
6.
Wow. Okay. So unfortunately, it seems to be the Zorn that actually go first.
Oops.
The one that is currently sort of locked eyes with you, Mercy, shouts out something in Primordial which you understand. It's hard to translate, but it's basically like surprise intruder to its compatriot. And as it does, I need to see this. Ah, fun. It actually begins to glide forward.
Oh, that's not fair.
Yeah, it actually meets you immediately and makes, as it glides forward, you note that an attack of opportunity is registered from one of the dragons, the smaller of the two.
See, I'm the best assist.
Yeah, pretty much. Unfortunately, the claw kind of crashes behind it and rakes at the ground as the Zorn continues to glide forward uninhibited. And immediately a barrage of blows meets you as the three claws swing wildly around. Yep. Okay. This is going to be a 12 to hit.
No.
Yep. Another 12 to hit.
No.
24.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, you, with this one claw, you feel its ebon talons kind of find purchase upon your skin and suffer. And no, that was cocked. Okay, so 12 points of piercing damage.
That's an oof, guys.
That's a big oof, as indeed this claw rakes across your frontal half, just sort of digging into your upper arms.
Ow!
The other Zorn is engaged in combat with the larger of the two dragons, and so makes the same attacks. That one hits. That one, I believe, does not hit. Nope, does not hit. And then, okay, so 2 land, and we got that much damage going towards that one. Okay, so, you know that it's actually doing a number on the younger red dragon, on the young red dragon as it tears into the scaly flesh of this entity, some of which has already been exposed just because of the length of time this battle has gone on, and a good bit of blood splatters onto the ground as the form collapses on all fours and just growls hideously. With them out the way, that leaves us with, I believe, Nowhere with your 14, yes?
Yes.
Nowhere. That is your move.
Okay. So, boop. I'm going to point at one of the Zorns. I'm going to cast Suggestion. And it has to make a Wisdom.
Okay. Are you attacking the one that is engaged in combat with the dragon or with Mercy?
Mercy.
Okay. So, Wisdom saving throw, yes?
Yes.
Oh, 16.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Fine.
This one smart cookie. You send out these sort of suggestions to this entity, and you feel it find purchase and then immediately kind of slide off. It's a very strange sensation to have this kind of entity resist you so successfully. Anything else you would like to do?
I would like to... I will use my bonus action to use Insightful Fighting.
Ooh.
Which is contested by the target's deception check. So the same target, the one that's fighting Mercy.
Okay. Four.
Not that deceptive then.
Yeah, I don't know what it's... I guess it might... I don't know what it would be up against. It doesn't say, but... insight check. Oh, I have to roll an insight check. I have a +8, so I'm gonna beat it.
No. It's impossible for you not to see the disposition of this current monster.
So that actually didn't... I don't know what I thought that would do. I just saw that it was a bonus action, so I wanted to use it. I'll just have sneak attack on this creature.
Okay. No, that's significant. I mean, it's so engaged in combat that it doesn't really note its surroundings. So you can you still have your movement if you would so desire. It'll take you about they're in the middle of the chamber, so it's a 60 foot. So if you use your movement now and use it next turn, you'll be in combat.
Yeah, I'll use my movement to get closer. And then
okay. So you find yourself in the middle of basically this valley of melted treasure as you see the heat has kind of undone a few of the non-magical items contained within this hoard. With that, however, we go forward in the initiative order to Mercy. Yes.
Okay, so Mercy is bleeding that infernal blood right now. And she's gonna do the very kind of badass monk thing of wiping the blood away from her face and like spitting on the creature. Spitting is a free action, right?
For the purposes of this combat, we will say yes.
Nice. Okay, and then she's gonna take her hammer, like rev it up. And then try and like smash this thing right in its big orange eyeball.
Roll an attack for me.
And am I correct in thinking that potion gave us what to add to attack?
1d.
Ah, sexy. Okay.
And you each had 1 to your AC.
Yeah, I did bear that in mind. Unfortunately, it did not play for me. Okay. That would be, Jesus Christ, that's a 33 to hit.
Jesus.
I wrote a 6
I'm going to go
on the
ahead and
D6.
speak for the DM here and say that misses.
It's that bell curve. It's like it doesn't hit, doesn't it? Wow, it hits. Wow, you got
Yeah,
too high.
no, it's
You were
It's
too
a
good.
window. It's a window. It's this new thing I'm unrolling. It's the window to hit.
no.
It's like those ducks that move. Try and shoot them.
Exactly. It's just like a carnival game. No. We'll say that. I'll go ahead and be merciful and say that hits. So go ahead and
Nice.
roll damage.
Okay, so that's 9 points bludgeoning damage. I would like to attempt to use Stunning Strike. When I hit with a melee attack, I can spend a key point to do a Stunning Strike. It needs to make a con saving throw.
Okay. Constitution saving throw, you say?
Mm-hmm.
What's the DC on that?
13.
Rolled a 12. So
Yes! Okay, so yes. So
now it
he
is
is now
stun.
stunned
Yeah.
until the end of my next turn. So
Okay.
until then, it's like, yeah. And then I'm going to lay
Okay.
in with Flurry of Blows for 2 additional attacks.
Go ahead.
Okay. First one is 20. Dirty 20.
Dopty 20. Yep, that hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Okay, that's another 6 damage. And then the next attack, I'm pretty sure that hits. Because that's another dirty 20.
That does indeed. Go ahead
Another 6
and roll
damage.
for damage.
And then I'm going to use my extra attack because I'm level 5 now. Go.
Sure.
Okay, and this time, however, this might not hit because that is only a 14.
That one does not hit. But
Okay.
just to recap, that was 6 on the first, 6 on the second, and
9 on the first, then 6 and 6.
9, 6, and 6. Okay.
And it's stunned.
Whew, ow. Yikes. So, bad news. It's still alive. I will say this though, just given the amount of blows, its eye, it's not permanently shut, but the stunning strike landed literally right in the middle of its iris, so it's like it can't really see anything. It's very, very out of tune with its environment. There was sort of this simpatico element where it was gliding across a stone, and now it's sort of stomping around very ridiculously. And Mercy, having laid into it, you note that whatever wounds it had received in combat are now just sort of pulsing even more
Nice.
severely, and like
And I like
it's almost dead. Like it really, like there's just Jovi, go hurry, put this thing out of its misery.
Johnny, suck him up!
Jovi was like searching through her bag, like shit. Mercy's doing it. She's looking for like health potions, and then she sees it's almost dead. Oh shit! It's just she'll go with her rapier and attack twice because she has extra.
Okay, given that it's 60 foot, you'd have to
60. Oh, I
dash.
can't do that. That's
Oh, boy.
right.
Yeah, you'd have to dash, which
I
unfortunate.
have a light crossbow.
You get advantage
use
to
your
hit
light.
him.
With the crossbow.
Yeah, hit. You have a light crossbow. You say.
Yeah, and you
I do.
get advantage on the hit, so
So yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
finish him.
I haven't made a dex attack in a while.
I imagine it's sort of like you reach for the first like healing potion. You see it's almost dead. You reach for something that'll hit it, and then you just decide, okay, well no, I'll just get a crossbow.
Okay. I got the one shot because I got to reload. Then. All right. So I rolled a 19.
That hits. Please roll for damage.
Please don't suck. 12.
Ooh, that's great damage.
Piercing.
It's dead. It's certainly dead. And indeed, Mercy, as you're sort of gearing up for another round with this creature, it blinks wildly, and in the split second that its eye is open, the bolt just sinks in fully all the way through, piercing it and just kind of leaving almost like a purplish blue blood trickling out. It's
Glorping.
just, it falls down very heavily, and
You never said you were an expert marksman, Jovi.
I wasn't aiming for its eye.
What were you aiming for?
It's dead. Hooray! She's got her foot on it, trying to reload it, just to have a reloaded cross.
it's dead. Hooray. Okay. The younger of
Oh.
yes.
Thank you for the raids,
Oh,
Graticus.
Hi everybody. Good to see you. What's up? We're killing Zorn.
We just
All right. Wow. The younger of the two dragons, having just witnessed the absolute decimation of this poor creature, you see, it's actually looking to you very wild-eyed, Mercy.
Wait, the dragon or the Zorn?
Oh no, the dragon.
Oh, in that case, I give a wink.
Make a charisma check. Just general. Make it persuasion. Just make it persuasion.
Okay.
We'll say this is your reaction for the turn.
Oh yeah, that's a 15.
Ooh. Okay. The dragon is slightly confused, to say the least. But turning his attentions to his sister, you get the sense that he's preoccupied. And so with that in mind, between the two of these lovely young red dragons, we're going to see how much damage this thing is going to take. So that's not a hit. That isn't a hit either. And let's try
Wow, this dragon sucks.
that. That one is a hit. So there's that one. That one hits. His sister is now attacking the creature. That one hits. That one hits. Okay, so... Oh yeah, no. Now that this thing is alone, the Zorn is kind of valiantly trying to maybe salvage a little bit of something, and then it gets torn to shreds by two adult dragons or two young adult dragons that just lay into it with claws and teeth, and you actually note that they don't consume the flesh of this creature. They actually spit it out. And Mercy, you see that sort of purplish blood seems to resemble more mud than blood. Indeed, it kind of thickens and just grows heinous as the smell now hits your nostrils.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Combat now finished. The older of the two, the larger of the two. I don't know why I age with size. Anyway, the larger of the two kind of stands upright. It's hard to parse them apart beyond the size difference, but the one is a little bit more lithe in construction. The scales sort of gel together in more of a smooth patterning that is not so varied. There's a singular reddish hue that kind of pervades the entirety of the dragon. Even its underbelly is a similar shade. Whereas the other seems to have this very bright yellow underbelly. Its scales are a little bit more jagged, and you note on the top of the head there are the beginnings of what seem to be feathers or horns. It's very, very difficult to tell, but yes, it seems that these two dragons, as they are not attacking. Indeed, as the larger kind of steps forward, the smaller whispers something in Draconic. Mercy, no idea. Jovi, no idea either, because that cocktail is worn off way long ago. Nowhere you understand perfectly. This younger dragon kind of says, "Wait, sister, they helped, or at least tried to." And the larger of the two kind of towers over her brother, you see this seething anger just kind of quietly subdue itself before you are addressed. Who dares intrude here?
I will respond in Draconic. I'll put my
I back up a few feet to stand next to Nowhere.
I'll put my hands up in the air and kind of bow my head and say, "Hello, my name is Nowhere. I am a part of the Final Rites crew, and I am here with my companions, seeking the help of Zarkael and Kelzara, if you would be so kind as to listen to our request."
I don't know if you said anything or not. Make sure you reference Eamon, Gallow Dodger. He's the one who owes the...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a favor.
Yes.
You have this very... Nowhere, go ahead and roll a persuasion check, just general.
Okay. Dirty 20.
Oh boy.
Okay. The larger one kind of cocks her head to the side. The smaller joins in kind of the similar posturing of standing on all fours and kind of judiciously positioning themselves. Kelzara addresses you, the sister. We have heard of the rites before. 'Tis a place of demons and devils, yes?
Yes, and it is kept in motion by Eamon Gallow Dodger, who I believe may be an acquaintance of yours.
A wash of recognition floods both of their faces, and the smaller one actually seems a little hardened by the fact that Eamon's name has been mentioned. Turns to his sister and smiles. A friend of our father's. He was dear to us when we were clutchlings. Well, so long ago, I suppose. He still draws breath?
Yes, in fact, he was very sad that he could not make the trip himself, but he is quite necessary to the daily functions of the ship and could not make the journey.
An unfortunate occurrence, surely. And he kind of elbows his sister, who's still very intent on you. Nowhere. You get this very distrustful aura from around her, and she actually narrows her eyes and kind of stoops to your level. The very long neck kind of snaking down to settle about 10 feet away from you. You feel the heat of the breath of this dragon kind of surround you, almost like a sauna, as indeed you get she's trying to scrutinize you. Eamon could not make it himself?
No, and part of the reason for that is why we are here. We have a dire malfunction aboard the Final Rites. And
Yeah,
we
they're
were
probably gonna... Sorry, just say they're probably gonna kill him if we don't get this.
Yeah, yes, and also that perhaps they will kill Eamon. I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
There is a blank stare that is directed to each of you.
Are we still speaking? Are they still speaking Draconic?
Yeah, they're still speaking Draconic.
Well, then it's just dragons.
Yeah,
as far
that's
as
true.
Joey's
Good
concerned.
fact. It's just grunting.
Retcon.
Retcon. Noticing that neither of you understands what's going on, Kelzara mercifully switches to common. Aemon has been threatened with death before, and yet he has defied it. I am sure he will be fine.
Yes, they don't call him Gallow Dodger for no reason.
True, but he hasn't dodged the final rites yet. Not very dodgy if he can't get off of that. Just saying.
Well, we are here hoping to prevent both the demise of your dear friend Aemon and also our ship, which cannot function without the necessary tools.
Our father's dear friend, the Kelzara, intones. Zadakel kind of steps forward at that point and tries to speak, but she holds up a clawed hand. He was
What about?
dear. He was dear once. But 20 years have passed since our father's eyes closed to this world. And we have not heard from him since. Now, he would ask for our help? Why should we give it?
I mean, we can make you magical cocktails and special powers.
Jovi gingerly raises a hand, not in response to the drink comment. Ma'am, if I understand correctly, the Blood Wars reached these shores too. The ship, the final rites working correctly keeps the war from spilling out even more than it already does. If it were to cease existing, I have to imagine that as war raged here, it would put your beautiful collection here in a bit of a tight spot. That people would come for it, and your solitude here would be interrupted even more than these fellas.
I'm sure my brother would be heartbroken. And you sense this very sardonic tone. Zadakel kind of stills himself, and he's a little peeved. He wants to say something, but keeps it subdued. Jovi, make a persuasion check.
15 total.
Okay. Zadakel is the first to speak. He actually gets a little closer to you, sort of standing in the middle of both his sister and you all, and he looks to you very pensively. What we have heard of the rites describes it as a place of neutrality, a place that is apart from the war. How then can such an institution prevent its spread?
Well, it's and she like kind of glances at nowhere, like, I'm just gonna wing it here. I don't know the answer. It's my understanding that places of neutrality would provide an opportunity for warring sides to make agreements and to find momentary peace. If there was no place for those sort of meetings to happen, the two sides would just tear each other apart without ever talking. Places to talk are important.
The Kelzara intones at that point. Demons and devils will always scheme. Why should such a place be regarded so highly. The war will come in one form or another.
There are those of us that find a place of neutrality to be more of a safe haven than anywhere else. There are plenty of folks on board that would lose their homes if we were to lose the ship.
Ah, so it's fear that brings you here.
Not just that, the drinks are really good. I mean, that's probably one of the best things it has going for
Just,
want to be there. But I mean, it's got good recreational facility.
You
I would
feel
hope you'd understand it'd be justifiable fear.
justifiable. And what are you aboard the Rites?
Well, as my friend here has waxed poetically, I entertain and provide a calm in the storm for those who need it. And she has her shaker and just sort of mostly libations.
You hear this sort of exasperated sigh escape Kelsara as she turns to nowhere at this point. Your finery betrays your station. Who are you aboard the Rites?
My what betrays my station?
Your finery. And she
Oh.
motions to your brilliant dress. Or, excuse me, not dress now. It's your
Shorts
scarf,
on
your
top.
shorts, your train. Like, it's just... You've got sort of a Tifa from Final Fantasy VII thing going on. It
Yeah.
works. It works. It's just very hard to describe.
I am. Is she speaking to me in Draconic or in Common?
Common.
Okay, then I'll also respond in Common. I am the keeper of the ledger. I make sure that those who board the final rites are kept accountable and maintain order, as well as gain connections among various planes and ports for those of us who work aboard the rites.
Zarakel kind of looks at you and blinks a couple of times. He's understanding of it, but a question seems to cross his mind. Connections that come aboard the Rites. Would there be, perhaps, he looks to his sister kind of tentatively, a record of a certain celestial entity?
I have record of everyone who has come aboard the final rites.
Immediately, both of them kind of look to each other, and there's kind of a quiet, silent conversation that happens, but Zarakel kneels down. My sister is not unjust in saying that I grow weary here. But in the shadow of my father, and he kind of looks above, and you note that there seem to be the various bones of dragons of various sizes. One of them, seeming to be the most fresh, is actually embedded within the rock and in sort of a circular fashion. I grow a little heartbroken that I am tied here. However, if perhaps I were given a direction to hunt that which destroyed him, perhaps you could be extended lenience. that Aemon should have come and asked for. He kind of smiles.
And your father met this unjust end 20 years ago.
At the hands of a celestial bastard. You see Kelzara's form kind of grow dark and intense.
And do you have his name?
They look to each other and nod.
I look to Jovi, and while I'm speaking, kind of like raise my eyebrows and tilt my head and say, it would be against the rules for me to hand out information about those who have boarded the final rites. However, I do recall having misplaced my ledger.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Well, I'm offering to give them what they want!
I know.
Okay. Persuasion check with advantage. Dirty 20.
Nice.
Okay, so you've lost your ledger. Oh dear. Where is it exactly?
Well, first I need the name.
They refuse. If you ask directly what the name is, they refuse to give it.
Well, I'm not going to just hand over the ledger, but what I will do is I will open my ledger to the correct page, and then I will drop it on the ground, and then I will turn around. But I'm not handing over the entire ledger.
So
what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my ledger out of my cloak because I have a secret ledger pocket in all of my clothing.
Of course.
Because the ledger's small, but it's magical, right? So it's small, but it's like infinite pages.
Yeah, I'll say that its dimensions can be collapsible to accommodate for skin-tight clothing.
Well, the cloaky part is a little wider.
Oh, that's fair.
I have a pocket of holding, but it can only hold this one thing. So I pull out my ledger and I'll start to scroll back 20 years-ish. Like I'll know kind of, what that is. So I'll kind of begin to scroll and I'll say, it's such a shame, really. I tend to take very good care of my things, but there was a bit of a scuffle while we were visiting, and I misplaced my ledger for only a few minutes. And if anyone were to have looked upon the page as it fell open, well, I suppose I couldn't be held responsible for the natural fall of one's eye.
Make an investigation check just to see if you can divine the correct page from the clues. 20 years ago,
okay.
Celestial in origin. There have been a lot of people that visited 20 years ago, but might have had an affinity for dragons. There are a lot of clues here.
So oh no, that's just a bonus action.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Okay. Investigation. This is so frustrating.
Again, with the browser thing.
Yeah, because it keeps going away. 14.
Okay. As you settled it down, you actually orient the ledger to where there's just a high volume of celestial names on one of the pages that was from 20 years ago. Potential affinity for dragons. It's the specific business is marked down, but obviously a good portion of it is encoded to your specificity, but I'll assume you have something of a deciphering stone that you again, as you so brilliantly described.
Well, but I wasn't the keeper of the ledger 20 years ago, so wouldn't it be in however the previous keeper kept their notes?
Well, here's the thing. Time moves a little bit wonky in the final rites, so, and in comparison, make a general intelligence check.
There probably would have to be some means for other keepers to be able to read each other's comments in case they needed to do research.
Yeah.
I would hope.
$21.
Okay, so the nature of time aboard the final rites is very strange in comparison to that of every single plane that it visits. 20 years ago that have passed aboard the elemental plane of fire, we will say for mercy's sake, that you were at the time considered to be the keeper of the ledger. It again, with time being so screwy as it is, it's very difficult to orient, because for you it was only maybe a couple of years ago, but 20 years passed on the elemental plane, so it's weird. But
Okay. That would explain why Eamon thought that their dad only died recently.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will yeah, I guess I have a deciphering stone.
Yeah, and we'll say that judiciously you lay it on the ground and then turn around.
Yeah.
Plausible deniability.
I turn around and I walk away 5 paces.
Wait, are we also meant to not look?
Yeah, I motion for everyone to turn around.
Ah, fuck.
Jason, just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
when a spell has verbal and somatic, how do you adjudicate wanting to subtly do something?
What are you
You're
subtly?
just like.
What are you subtly trying to do?
So here's the thing. I want to know if I can fake like I'm shuffling around in my bag. But what I actually want to do is I want to cast Detect Thoughts, which lets me like sift surface thoughts of creatures within 30 feet of me, like kind of go one on one before they actually are aware. I'd have to dig deeper for them to be aware I'm doing it. But like, I just want to kind of
make a deception check.
Okay. All right. I take that.
Well, wouldn't you get advantage because they're like so distracted by the ledger that has their father's murderer in it?
Yeah, Jason. Did I get it?
What did you get? What did you get? What did you roll? I'm sorry.
I'll give you 1.
Oh, natural 20. I see.
Yeah. I got a 3 total, but it was I'm not a spellcaster, you guys. It's just a thing I gotta do.
See.
You may have 1. I repeat, 1 more roll.
13.
Okay. We'll see how that goes. So as you rummage around your bag, a little bit actually spills out that kind of has you restarting the spell.
Mm-hmm.
But you note that actually the thoughts are two. Okay, if they had colors, they'd be two-tone. One of them is runs very hot and angry. You get the sense of wanting to leave, wanting to get out, not understanding, just sort of this anger that's not on this that's on the surface of the mind, but it's directionless. There's no rhyme or reason to it. The other seems to run cool. It's a little bit more meditative, more thoughtful, more sad in a sense. But again, you can't really see how what's going on without delving a little deeper.
Okay. I'm not going to risk that.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, because if I do, there's 2 dragons in this room. So no, she will just go, okay, I lucked out. I'm going to shut that shit down.
Okay, so power down, turn around. You hear the great bodies actually begin to move and weave with weight and purpose as they navigate to the journal itself. You actually hear the scales bump against each other as it looks like, or sounds like, they're trying to like bump heads and figure out, what's going on exactly for the 2 of them.
Oh, Jason, I believe it does let me hold on to it, the surface thoughts, for up to
Okay.
a minute. So I could just hang out and wait until they see something in the
Yes.
book.
So
That
as
was sort of my intention, was to see if I could have it trigger something in their head.
okay, so as you do see, one is sort of lost amidst the pages and ciphers, but the other seems to have had the stone, so there's a bit of clarity, and there's this sort of melancholy turns to excitement for a moment, and then quickly is subdued as there's this mutual sense of, okay, like there's a mutual assurance that kind of washes over the 2. And then a couple of minutes later, you see both Zarakel and Kelzara, or you feel Zarakel and Kelzara, since you're facing the other way. Plausible deniability. You sense them retract from the book and kind of huff to each other.
You 2 need any help there?
It seems there was something apart from our trove. Something that did not belong to us. Zarakel answers and kind of, in a great clawed hand, clutches the ledger and brings it to you, Nowhere. The hand itself is about probably about 6 foot in length, claws included. The palm of it is like 4 foot across. So the ledger is basically in the middle of a 4 foot fleshy table as the hand of Zarakel is extended to you.
Thank you so much for finding my lost item. It would be so embarrassing for me to return to the final rites without it. And I will
I know, right? Can you
retrieve...
imagine if your best friend found out about that? God, I mean, that would be quite a hoo-ha there.
Yes, it would be. And so I would appreciate it if this little oversight was not mentioned.
We found it in plenty of time.
Or perhaps we never even lost it.
Lost what? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll retrieve the ledger and put it back in my secret ledger pocket.
You note that Zombeefcake did not turn around and has been looking at you
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
The entire season.
Nowhere kind of, you note Zombeefcake takes a look at the ledger and looks to you.
Yes.
No response. Well, generosity being the spirit of this venture, seems we now have a debt to you. Aemon sought a favor. He shall have it. What do you require for the operation of your vessel?
I motion for Zombeefcake to begin unloading his backpack. As I say, we require a... What is it called? What kind of crystal is it? I keep forgetting.
Motivating crystal.
We require a motivating crystal to maintain some of the more powerful aspects of our ship.
Jovi describes it physically how Eamon described it. There were like dimensions he gave us.
Yeah, Kelzara kind of nods, and you hear her kind of like grit her teeth. We have such a thing in our possession. Tell Aemon that his favor is null and void. And that she kind of stills herself, and you note there's a sudden kind of sadness almost that pervades her form. And that our father sends his regards and kindness. Zarakel kind of looks to his sister and settles a hand on her shoulder. She wrenches it away, and I will be but a moment. And she dives into the trove, trying to find this spectacular sort of crystal which you described. Zarakel nestles next to each of you and kind of casts an eye. She grieves in strange ways.
Don't we all?
I will be glad to be out of here. If only for a little while. Perhaps then she will see that remaining here is only good for so long. You see him kind of stare at the carcass of his dad.
Jesus.
And he's just very, very conflicted about what to feel. There's that sort of righteous anger that Jovi, you recognize even without a insight check, that he's kind of angry, wanting revenge, and yet so tired of this whole keeping a trove and whatever thing. It's very complicated for him.
So
Processing it.
Mercy
That is
probably
complicated.
Mercy probably wanders a little closer, like being like the understanding best friend that she is to the dragon.
Let it out. Let it out.
Hey, I know that some dragons can do this. Can you and your sister change your forms?
We are not as skilled as some. It's possible, but see us in 1,000 years.
Why don't you should come aboard the Final Rites for a while? You like it? It's good fun. You can win more gold.
I do not seek gold. And
You
I
can make relationships that will last your entire life.
Mercy, you should write the brochure.
make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Or, last offer, you might find someone who knows the resurrection spell. Just saying, if you want him back that bad.
Mercy!
Yeah, make it
What? I'm just
disadvantage.
pointing out options.
Hard sell.
That's 3.
Yeah, that's about right.
That is about right. You actually see Zarakel kind of like tense and be like, okay, wait, no, that's absolutely not what we're looking for, one. And for two, he actually like leans down very close and whispers very, very severely, I understand you're trying to help, but we just found out that the name and potential business dealings of the celestial entity that killed my father, so I believe there's a little bit of a quest that we have to get out of the way before we even consider perhaps retiring or otherwise.
If I see them, do you want me to whack them?
I can't tell you, because we are dealing with sticklers for the rules. And I would rather not deal with demons and devils
That's
for
why you let
longer than
someone-
I have to.
That's why you let someone deal with them for you.
Would that I could. Believe me.
Well, you know where we are because we literally cannot. Because we're bound there by threads of fate.
The beating of wings accompanies the arrival of the crystal, which Kelzara clutches in her grasp. She is reluctant to part with it, but as Zombie Kick pries open the container, she settles it quite judiciously. After nowhere, I'll say, you are able to fiddle around with the dimensions and make it to a size that is accommodating for the actual motivating crystal itself. Kelzara looks to you and clears her throat. You should keep an eye on that ledger. It seems important.
Yes, I will take your advice under advisement. Thank you.
There is a very, very deep, almost cleansing breath that escapes Kelzara. Zarakel pipes up after a while. So, I presume this to be all the help you needed?
We would perhaps benefit from a more expedient journey back to the port if you perhaps could assist us in any way. The trip here was arduous and took many hours.
And a bit treacherous. Ran into a few hotheads, as it were.
Hey, we dealt with it.
Dear sister, I will be right back. Kelzara doesn't regard her brother and instead just shoves herself back into the trove that has been collected and kind of nestles amidst it. Go. Return, and we shall discuss what next.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Thank you kindly. Sorry for the trouble and the bother.
You hear a low growl escape.
And I'm ready to go.
It was great meeting you.
No response.
Just an eye.
Just an eye. Zarakel gets on all fours, leans down, and it's enough to accommodate. It's just not. You kind of have to ride back to back to back. It's not so voluminous where you can like surf on his back, but you can ride comfortably.
I vote that Zombeefcake goes first, and we all hold on to him.
I mean, I'd rather surf than hold on a daisy bodies, but sure.
Just thinking who's more likely to hold on better.
I'd rather be like held in a claw than hold on to like a chain of tieflings and one very squishy zombie minotaur who could fall apart at a moment's notice.
The neck of the dragon actually careens around, and you see an eye settle next to you, Jovi. Oh, do not worry. I am supremely well versed in transporting those of smaller disposition and stature.
Good to know.
That sounds rad. Okay.
Yeah, rad indeed. And you see the next snap back, and
I thought you said he had a snapback then.
No, No, he does not have a snapback. I refuse. That is where I draw the line.
Wow, wow, everybody! The real treasure was the slang we learned.
If I might ask, would you be willing to at least carry the backpack in your claws? It is the most important item. No offense. And I would like to see it arrive unscathed.
Make a persuasion check.
Dirty 20.
Immediately, the hand is extended to Zombeefcake. Zombeefcake takes a very, very long look at you.
Yes, of course. Give it over.
Gives it over. In the clutches of Zadakel, this device is contained. This is Eamon's work. Always was a crafty one. He kind of laughs at his own joke. You see him roll his shoulders. His wings begin to beat rather quickly. I need you all to roll strength athletics checks. Por favor. With advantage.
I would just like to know, I'm going to attempt to get behind Zombeefcake.
Perfectly fine.
I rolled a 23. Can I surf after?
Whoop.
You're a little robot-y.
Little robot on Angela. Angela, can you hear us? No.
Oh no, it looks like she froze.
No!
Ah! She's back.
Phew.
She back? You're back.
I'm back.
All right.
Yes, I'm back. 17. Thank you for the advantage.
And nowhere?
Do we all have advantage?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's a good flyer.
14.
Okay. DC was like 10. So, as you begin to take off, from the mouth of this mountain emerges a very jarring sight as a zombie minotaur, a pink tiefling in like full Tifa gear, a green tiefling surfing behind the both of them, and a yellow tiefling just holding on for dear life, emerges into the storm-ridden clouds of the elemental plane of fire in the very, very far distance. You note that there is indeed a familiar sight of home as the final rites as the final rites emerges into view. After a very brief flight, you are delivered to the shores of...
Wait!
Ah?
Before we get there, while we're in flight,
Of course.
I am going to
On air or
take
in air
out. I'm going to take out my dagger, and I'm going to attempt to kill Zombeefcake. I'm
holding on to him for
You're fine. You're fine. I'm going to stab him in the throat. I'm going to slit his throat open because
Wow.
he saw what I did, and I cannot let that get back to anyone on the ship. So he's going to die.
Oh my God.
But like, we're on our guest's back. Just think of the goo and ooze you're gonna get all over the tiny scale.
I don't care. I have to do it. I have to look out for number one.
Wow. Okay. Well, the trip is a little bit longer than I thought it would be. Go ahead and roll an attack with advantage because technically
Surprise
your
attack.
your allies are close to you.
I am sticking to the idea that Jovi is like arms around him right now, so any of that sludge
I'm
is
behind him. I'm behind him. So your arms are around me. You're fine.
Okay.
I got a 23.
Oh dear.
Jovi's like, what are you doing?
Oh, gross. That's really nasty. Oh my god.
Actually, Mercy, roll a dexterity saving throw and nowhere
shit.
roll for damage.
Natural 20. So a total of 28.
I do get sneak attack. So first I'm going to roll just my stab, which is 5. And then I'm going to roll my sneak attack.
Okay.
This took a
Hold on.
swing into left field, let me tell you.
It won't let me. Why isn't it doing? Hold on.
Take your time. No worries.
My dice roller is like a weird setting.
Oh. If you're looking for physical dice so that you don't have to worry about
Okay.
the program.
There we go. So my damage with my my stabby was a 5, and my sneak attack is a 14.
Okay. I'll say
So
that's
19.
enough. Yeah, okay. I need you to roll a dexterity saving throw. He will do the same at disadvantage because this is like thousands upon thousands of feet above the earth with like wind and everything kind of still blowing past. So you just roll a straight up dexterity saving throw.
21.
Okay, yeah, no. DC being 18, congrats.
Wow.
You feel a sort of gush of this acrid blood spurt out as Zombie
Ew!
tries to turn around. Mercy, it does not hit you. Haha.
It's so gross.
You hit Zombie Beefcake in such a way that as he turns around, his like spine twists out of socket, and he loses
Gnarly.
control of his legs and slides off ridiculously onto the plane below.
Okay.
Oh no! How terrible!
At which point, Zarakel actually full stops for a moment and begins to sort of look down, terrified that he actually somehow did this. I'm so sorry. You actually feel him try to begin to descend to try and catch the body before it splats to the ground. He's unsuccessful. And
It's all right.
his neck
Yeah.
careens back to each of you. What happened?
Don't worry. He was simply a collection of goo inside of a suit. It appears that there was a leak we were unaware of, and he had been slowly losing control. We can make another.
Make a deception check.
Fucking brutal.
Okay, listen, I gotta look out for number 1 here.
Fair?
That works. Yeah. That fits. That tracks.
I got a 14.
Zarakel's eye kind of looks at the dagger that is covered in gore that is still in your hand.
I don't know what could have happened.
I was simply looking for purchase, and
With my dagger.
I wasn't very well going to stab you.
he kind of like, of course, as you lost your ledger, it is hazardous, this work of yours, yes?
exactly.
Exactly. Let's get you home. He just kind of goes into a very ridiculous dive and begins to make his way to the river Styx. He settles beside it very gracefully and allows you to disembark.
Oh boy.
Thank you so much for the ride. It would have been a very tedious and potentially even more deadly journey home had you not accompanied us.
Yeah, you know you're pretty awesome. I've never met a dragon, but you know you're pretty great.
Many thanks, I suppose. Is that yours? And he looks to a boat that is sort of crashed against the shores, the lifeboat that you took, or that was taken. As you note, the same pilot that drove you to the shore is now sort of clanging a bit of a bell, obviously having seen that there was this dragon that came out of nowhere and was apparently looking to
Well, technically, nowhere came off the dragon.
oh,
but,
God, okay. Fine, I'll give you that one. But it seems that the final rites noted your presence and your descent from the mountains.
How nice.
Well, people are gonna be talking about this for a little while.
Yes, that belongs to us. Thank you.
Before we do run off, though, I have one more question, Zarko. I don't suppose you've come across a fire ganassi called Kaida, like, along this neck of the woods anytime recently? I mean, this is kind of his second home, so.
Make a persuasion check.
That would be a dirty 20.
Well, that I did, but I shall keep an eye out for this Keda. Though I doubt I will be here much longer. I probably have to see my sister again, huh?
Yeah, make sure she's okay and stuff.
I will. I will. And I suppose you will need this. He sort of places the canister, like sinking it into the dirt right next to you.
So I guess I'm carrying this now, huh, Nowhere?
Well, yes, if you would.
That was mighty fortuitous of you to ask him to carry it like that.
Well, one never knows what could happen. I've been in this line of work long enough to know that those things of value are best rooted to solid structures.
Good to know. Many lessons this trip.
Indeed. And you see him take off from the shore, kicking up a whirlwind of dust. Yeah. He waves back and makes his way to the mountain quite quickly. The relief vessel navigates a little bit closer to you to make the trip less arduous. And it seems that you have completed your task within a day, or close enough to within a day.
Darn right.
But we shall have to address this come next session. As everybody, we've reached the end of today's lovely time. Thank you all sincerely so much for coming for World Angel and Scraticus Academy, who both raided during the stream. Didn't get a chance to shout you out, but thank you to all the new followers. Thank you to all the new viewers. So marvelous to see each and every one of you. If you're watching on YouTube, you can catch us live every other Tuesday, 2 p.m. CST, 3 p.m. EST, 12 p.m. PST, all the other time zones, all the other places. And yeah, that's just brilliant. I must admit, I did not see Zombie Beefcake meeting such an unceremonious end.
Well, he shouldn't have been looking.
I'm sorry,
very
I have to
rude.
remember our red shirts. We need to keep them out of trouble. Nowhere dispatches them.
Oh man, wow.
Brutal.
Just round the table once more. Heavenly, where can we find you? How you doing? And
And do you feel even the slightest bit of remorse as Heavenly?
As Heavenly, yes. I don't like having to kill NPCs, but as Nowhere, I feel no remorse because my position on the final rites is already a bit stretched at the moment because the captain's a little mad at me, and so I can't have secrets, being circulated about
Except
me.
you now have a different secret.
Yeah, but that's my own secret. I trust myself.
Do you trust us, though?
You didn't see me kill him.
He was
True.
behind you.
There was a
Anyway,
dagger.
whatever.
He fell.
That's the conversation at the end.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
you both saw him fall, right?
Right. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at that is my real name. THT that is my real name. That's all I have for you. And you can you can find me everywhere. I'm everywhere. I'm in your basement. You see the basement behind me? It's your basement. I'm there. Hey,
I don't even have. I live in an apartment on the second floor.
I'm doing my laundry.
Flat, so
I know it's weird. You guys have a basement and I'm there.
And she's doing her laundry. So
Yeah, I'm doing my laundry. So
yeah, might want to check the floor plans there. Rachel, who are you? How you doing?
who am I? That's a good question. I'm Rachel. If you look for @Talonier, I do some art stuff. I stream with Encounter Roleplay on Thursdays at 5 p.m. EST, or I'm also playing D&D 5e, and that will be going ahead this week. So that's cool. And yeah, that's pretty much me. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice and short.
nice, short, sweet, to the point.
Mm-hmm.
And who are you? How are you
Hi,
doing?
I'm
What you thinking?
Angela.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. I'm a little shocked right now. My pearls are clutched. But I am doing pretty well. You can find me at darling_gypsum on Twitter. That's where I do most of my shenanigans. And speaking of shenanigans, Shenanigoons is tonight here on Nerdsmith's Twitch channel at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. We are continuing our literal dive into the ocean, and it should be a good time.
Alrighty. Well, catch that later on this evening if you got the time, and even if you don't have it on in the background. It's a good time. Wonderful time to be had by all.
We are ridiculous, we're goofballs, and we have audience participation for donations. So please consider, what do we call it? Tip to add to the chaos.
Tip to add to the chaos. Indeed. At this Jason, please, on Twitter. You can find me here on Tuesdays. You can find me over either on Encounter Roleplay on Mondays, RPG Webby's channel on Thursdays. Check the pinned tweet. You can find me wherever, whenever, at Just Jason, please. And this was just a fantastic time. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, hi. Hope you can catch it live. Those that saw live, we're so thankful to all of you.
Yes,
we're thankful to our
thank you
sponsors,
to our
new followers.
and our next episode is 2 weeks from now, July 30th.
Yes.
Same time, Tuesday, noon PST. Join us. Or follow us on Twitter and we'll tell you when we are.
Indeed. We thank you, everybody, so much. Follow at Final Rites on Final Rites RPG on Twitter if you want to get the latest and greatest in all updates and tiefling goodness. And yeah, take care of yourselves. Drink a lot of water. Keep cool. And adios. Have fun.
Are we going to be